Hello and welcome. Hope everyone's doing alright. I'm doing good on this Easter Saturday. Doing a few bits. Thought we'd do something different today, just out the front. So this will be my biannual out the front update, and if you could tell me if biannual means every 2 years or twice a year, that would be great. So yeah, first thing to note is it still looks an absolute S-tip, but not as much as an S-tip as it did not too long ago. So those pallets, the original thing was I'm going to build a big shed like I have started doing there, and then face it up with all the sort of, I'll strip the pallets down and face them up, but in the end there was too many pallets, so I've just been burning them off in the back garden, which you might have seen on previous videos. So first thing of note is behind there is the water butts. You can see just the frame I've built up. It's not in the ground, that the sort of posts. I inherited a sort of work table which I've used, which the water butts are on, and then everything is kind of strapped to that and strapped to the fence just to give it a bit of structure. But so the plan for here is where those bags of manure are, where I've swept everything up to, I'm going to make a little planter and maybe put some bamboo and some climbers in there, just, you know, why not, basically. So yeah, and that little bit of trellis, you may remember, was a forerunner to me making the octagons out of trellis in the back garden. That was, I did them custom. This is obviously stuff you would buy at B&Q or whatever that I chopped up, which didn't quite work. So we'll make use of that out here, I think, just because it's a shame to waste it, or if not, then I'll burn it. I do like a good fire, me. So you can probably see down on the floor, just running across the front of that sort of faced up bit, is the big fence post left over from the pergola. I'm going to build a kind of frame, replace those fence posts and that fence when I get down to it. So essentially what it is there's 3 water butts behind there, which we'll go and have a look at in a minute, and then next to that I want to do a shed which will have stuff like spade, mattock, lawnmower, barbecue, garden furniture type thing, along with a bin store for the bins and the recycling and stuff down there. You can just see next to that then is probably 1 or 2 compost heaps, and then I need somewhere to store just sort of general rubbish. You know, it just builds up, don't you, just bags, and you get like 4 or 5 bags, which isn't worth taking to the tip, but they just need keeping somewhere out of sight. And then I'll probably try and down the end, we'll go and have a look where those bins are in a minute, well, specifically where those rocks are. But if I could get like a little bench in there, because it does get the sun later on in the day, it comes from the top of the garage there. Maybe put a tree fern or so where the bins are, and the view actually looking up the road isn't too bad. And the neighbours, I won't do it because their cars are there with their number plates, but the neighbours have a little bench at the front of their garden, which is not too far away from that, so it's good to be sociable in it. See, the ivy is completely taking effect. I won't show you the other side because it's an absolute nightmare. So if we go and have a quick look at the water butts, it's fairly straightforward. Like I said, I had a table, built a little cubby hole, built it off the wall a bit so I can get in behind here, and this also doubles up as a nice little place for me to keep pots, and I'll keep manure and whatnot down the bottom here. I've just linked them up with some copper. Obviously, if you were doing this, something like this, then you know, you could just use plastic 22mm speed fit pipe, which is a bit cheaper and easier to use. So I will lag this at some point, but the shed that's going to be sort of next door, I've gone up quite high with the strut, so I'll put a roof on it like I have at the back and have the water drip off the back. But I've got 2 tap-ins for it. So the first one, the blue one, is going to do the gravity irrigation, and I'll put an outside tap out the back garden that I can use for rain, you know, rainwater, as opposed to tap water, because it's quite hard water around here and the ferns like it slightly acidic, so it seems to make sense to do it. The second one is for, I've got another run of irrigation which is going to do my tree ferns and whatnot, so it needs to be under pressure and create a spray or be able to get up high, because this just runs off gravity, so anything lower than this will get watered just from opening a tap effectively, whereas stuff that's higher than this or needs a spray will need to be under pressure. So I got a shower pump, which I took off a job. Now you might be thinking, why didn't I just run one, and these two are going to run across here. I'll hit through the wall there and run it through the garage to head out to the back. You may be thinking, why didn't I just run one thing through and split it in the garage? The reason for that is, if you imagine if I'd have done that, so one pipe off of here runs through the garage, halfway through where the pump is, tee off it into the pump, and then have it carrying on to the irrigation, the drip irrigation on the floor, what would happen is when the pump's fired up, it's going to pull it equally from each side. So not only would it pull it from these water butts, but it'll also pull it from the irrigation side, which will suck air in. And if anybody knows anything about plumbing, air is the big enemy of pumps. So yeah, I decided to give it its own separate feed, just so it's only pulling out of these effectively. So yeah, they're all done and not too bad. Haven't got any leaks on them, which is always good when you're a plumber. It's all nice and tight up there, and like I said, I'll chuck a roof on this at some point. So just moving across, yeah, so this sort of section, probably this whole fence worth, that big the big fence post I'll put in line with this one equidistance off. The bin store sort of on the left, and then shed bit on the right, put a roof on that with that, and just have it all coming off the end, and that'll be a nice little store. Means I don't need to store stuff in the back garden. This will be a little bit of a tip in here. But there's my compost heap, which I haven't done anything with since October, not the one just gone, the one before that. You can see there's a bit of copper and plumbing stuff in there, but for the most part I've been trying to make it even between brown and green. But I expect when I pull that all out to turn it, it'll all be horrible and mushy. The one big mistake I made with that is that I didn't put any chicken wire around it, and the rats have been getting into it. So yeah, that's just something learned. That's just a bit of rubbish there, green bags that I took the bananas in. So yeah, so probably where the compost is in this fence post width will be 2 compost heaps side by side, so I can sort of even it up and turn them into each other. Bit of a bin store for half this fence post maybe, or maybe up with the bins, just somewhere to keep some rubbish bags. And then this last little area here, here's a pup. It was under all the bananas that I took out and just dumped here last week. I've only just taken them this morning, but yeah, it survived underneath all the bananas and it kicked out a new leaf. So that tells me I want to pot that one up, because he's a tough little bugger. So yeah, on the corner you can see the dividing line to my land here, as it were. I'll clean. I keep thinking I'll clean this up, but I probably won't, because it's quite nice, you know, just nature doing its thing, isn't it? So maybe here make a little triangle flower bed with some tree ferns, just so it looks nice from the road. And then in this tiny little section here, put a seat, and you can see the view's not too bad going that way. So it'd be quite nice, just for, yeah, the sun comes from above the garage. So yeah, otherwise I've over the winter I've dug all that up all the way around there. We'll get to that in a minute, and you can just see the membrane I've put down to stop the cats getting into it. I'm going to put a thin flower bed all the way down there. May go tropical with it. I suspect it's going to be a kind of nursery for damaged plants and plants I haven't got any room for out the back. So case in point is right here is the other half of the canna. I've done that because there's a tree stump right there where that ivy is just in amongst all that lot. So just to save, you know, if there's a big canna coming up there, A, it will look nice, and B, it just serves as a bit of a warning. There are actually a couple of plants in there already. I don't know if they survived. Oh, there you go. That is a shuttlecock fern, Maticua struthiopteryx. So yeah, and this is my little, excuse the Cat Defender 5000 that I've done there. We got hundreds of cats around here. They're a right pain in the ass. So this is where some of the ferns that have vanished from the back, they haven't been purged like a Stalinist regime. They're all out here recovering or just place sitting. So the main ones we got are Nephrolepis cordifolia. You can see it's already starting to go there, and our old mate the Saxifraga stolonifera, that little purple thing which went absolutely mental that time. So the fact it survived is quite good. It's scary in some ways. Now that there, which looks absolutely fantastic, is the Sertonium fortunei, the holly fern. If you watched it well enough, then you would have seen a couple of weeks ago this was under the coil at the back of the back garden where the Tetrapanax was, and it wasn't looking too good, but it seems to like it there. So yeah, definitely likes it a bit drier because that's under the bay window there, so it doesn't get any rain there. So yeah, definitely not one. And that bed it was in was quite a wet bed, so yeah, holly ferns like well drained soil. That's a Polypodium vulgare, which I can't remember where that, oh, that was in amongst the banana that I just took out recently. There's a Polypodium vulgare which I took out last year, which was underneath the Fatsia where I put the Hydrangea samanii. Another ostrich feather fern, ostrich tail fern there, Matichua. They run. I don't know what to do with them. The deciduous ones are a bit awkward. That one there is another Nephrolopis, I think. And then here we've got there's the Aphaenis pindarini, which is where I put that camellia next to the giant honeysuckle. Here is the lady fern, Ethereum Felix Femina. You can see it is ready to go. I need to give it all good trim, actually. This is a good reminder, but that will look really good in about a month's time. And then otherwise just a couple of Asplenium scolopendriums. There's a drop to its Lepidopoda which died in the full sun, which doesn't look like it's doing much better there. And then the Arachnoids variegata, which has just got, if you see that green thing, it's got like that sort of light green strip that goes down the middle of the frond. That one's turned white. I've never seen that on a fern before. Like, it's gone white, not brown, it's actually gone white. So there you go. A couple of these little aspleniums, I'll probably use them somewhere. And then finally we got the two crispum ferns, which I need to trim because they're all starting to come up as well. These will look great next time we look at them. But otherwise, yeah, that's pretty much the plan. I'll just keep the beds going around here, put something nice in under those pallets eventually. Maybe something like a, because it's quite shady here, so maybe something like a rhododendron would look quite nice, or a hydrangea. And then just a thin strip of them going down there. And then yeah, just like I said, build the shed across, put some plants in front of it or above it or whatnot, move those rocks, and away we go. So yeah, just wanted to update you upon it all. That's that. Right, what we're going to do now, the pergola, I think, finish that off. Hope you have a good Easter. See you next time.